The other incredible standout in the movie, the best performance, I would say, in terms of presenting a realistic character, was the actor who played Niki Lauda. Niki Lauda! So I'm taking a little walk along the long path, starting from Englewood Cliffs and headed towards Tenafly to the north. And I just thought I would share some thoughts. I've been a long-time Formula One fan, and so I recently saw the Netflix movie Senna, recently released about, of course, the life of Ayrton Senna. Overall, I'd say it's pretty good. Definitely one to watch if you're a big fan of Formula One racing. If you're a big Ayrton Senna fan, you certainly want to see it. It's okay. I'll say the highlights are episodes 5 and 6. So if you see nothing else, check out 5 and 6. There's some special moments in there. Overall, I'd say the movie's a bit let down by its main actor. And unfortunately, that's really not the blame of the poor actor. He's simply not Ayrton Senna. And as a result, he doesn't quite carry the life and excitement of the character. There are aspects that he does very well, the kind of sadder or morose points in Senna's life. But when it comes to being fiery mad, fiery excited, it just doesn't come across as authentic. Now, Senna was very characteristic in the eyes, and the main actor definitely has eyes that are characteristic of the sad points. And so they're, when Senna is down, frustrated, then that comes off pretty well. But when it comes time for the really exciting points, again, it just doesn't come off as authentic. But that does work very well, especially in episode 6, the fatal day at Imola. And there we see Senna speaking with Sid Watkins, the doctor, after the death of Roland Ratzenberger and the crash of Rubens Barrichello. And the discussion there really seems to be word for word based on what Sid Watkins had reported. In that he said, Ayrton, why don't we just leave this all behind and go fishing or something like that. That works very well. It's probably the most powerful moment of the whole movie. Maybe one other moment where Ayrton is speaking with a young boy in Sao Paulo, but that moment is really strong. It's nice to see that come alive. Those fans of Ayrton Senna are going to know about that conversation and his relationship with Sid Watkins. See, another thing that really dropped the ball, speaking of Sid Watkins, is the relationship with Sid Watkins. This could have been a really great interaction to really explore in depth. And unfortunately, we just don't get to see it. We see it in that one conversation, but other than that, we really don't see Sid Watkins at all. And I think they really dropped the ball not showing the interactions of Ayrton with Watkins more. I think that powerful conversation on that fateful Saturday in Imola could have been even more powerful had they developed the relationship between Ayrton and Sid. So that is all right. For the racing's not great. I think all directors and producers of movies that involve racing have just got to see and simply mimic Grand Prix from the 1960s. There they simply strapped cameras on cars and drove them fast. In Senna, there's a little of that, but there are other times where you can just see the cars are just, the way the body movement of the car is taking place. They're simply not driving really fast. Additionally, my God, they just overload it with the cliche of the fast cuts between the foot pedals and the steering wheel and the accelerator, the tachometer. It's just like, okay, we've got another racing scene. Let's do the same thing we did for the last racing scene. Now, part of that's all right. It shows off the unique staccato throttle style that Senna had in the corners. But, you see that a couple times, you get the idea. There are other points that are really nice as well. I think the way they treated the accident itself that killed Ayrton was done really quite well. They didn't come out and say, this is what happened, but they made allusions to it. The leading, or most commonly reported, I should say, theories is that going into the Tamburello corner in 1994 at Imola, Ayrton's steering column broke and he went straight off into the corner, and certainly the images make it look like that was the case, but of course you never know. The other oft reported but quite possibly incorrect detail is that the suspension went through the windscreen of Senna's helmet, and so at one point before the race, Senna's looking at the helmet and looking right at the windscreen of the helmet, and so that provides us a little foreshadowing. Now, what really caused Senna's accident and how exactly he died is certainly not 100% known. But I think the way they handled those ideas was good. They could have done, a fake post-race analysis and said this happened, but they didn't. So that was really nice. They simply ended with Senna's life. They didn't get into the cause, which would have been a great distraction and simply would have put forth one false narrative or another. Probably some truth in there too, but so that was that. So, Senna. I thought it was a good movie if you're a fan of Formula One racing and Ayrton Senna. You definitely want to see the movie. If you don't see all of it, see episodes 5 and 6. They can be really touching, where you see events that you've learned about in previous documentaries of Senna come to life. And in those scenes, I would say the lead actor does really well. The other incredible standout in the movie, the best performance, I would say, in terms of presenting a realistic character, was the actor who played Niki Lauda. Niki Lauda! Wow, that was like watching Lauda in his clinical, just fact, no BS portrayal. It was really quite amazing. Sid Watkins, again, was portrayed very well. Unfortunately, he didn't have that much to do in the movie, which would have been really tremendous. So, anyway, that's my thoughts on Senna. Go check it out and see what you think.